So here to solve the Sudoku by Jonas Gleim called Cross. It's got some interesting symmetry, sort of fourfold symmetry in the grid. These V shapes sometimes have some interesting patterns, particularly where we have eliminations to get basically two options for a digit. And one thing that's standing out to me is this digit 5 is pointing into a lot of space working with this 5. And so I got two spells for a 5 based off that. That actually also works over to the right, so I got two cells for a 5 based off this, and that gives these limits. This 5 and this 5 work together to put a 5 in here, and that actually forces the top. This 5 also works here with the same 5 to give one of these as a 5, puts in this 5. So the cross shape definitely is going through to get some pairs that then give eliminations. And that should work even for other digits. So notice this 7 also sees through the space and sees this 7 here. So it puts in a 7 pair that forces now in this stage of the puzzle a 7 only here. Puts a 7 down in just one of these two cells. The 7 coming up and that 7 going across, put a 7 here, 7 here. Working with this, that means this is the last spot for 7 in the row. We've got all the 7s I want to marked in. So let's try to do this with the other digits through the space. So we've got 3s, basically where I see two 7s here, I also see two 3s here. So let's look at those digits. This 3 coming down with this 3 is putting in a pair on the bottom. 3 coming across. This 3 over here actually means that a 3 is in one of these cells. And that doesn't look tremendously useful, but now that I have this 3 note down here, the first and third columns are where the 3s will be in these red boxes. So a 3 is in one of these cells, but I actually have a 3 here. This is a 3, this is a 3. Looks like that's most of the progress I can make by thinking about the centers. I haven't done some of my most typical starting steps, so I'll do those now. I see like two 6s looking down this column, so I'm naturally trying to place a 6 to the rest of the grid, but there already is a 6 there. That gives me another 6. Gives me a 6 node in these cells. That gives me a 6 node in these cells, it looks like. Got two 8s. That makes me place another 8. Not getting more through the other part of the grid through that. This box is almost done. I got 2, 4, 9, 2 and 4 in this row, so I got a 2, 4 pair and a single of a 9. That 2, 4 pair and that 2, 4 pair actually push over here and give a 2 and a 4. That moves down the 6, moves this 6. What do I have here? I've got a 1, 8, 9 that's almost done. This 1 can't be in the cell. So this is 8, this is 1, this is 8, this is 9. Working off this, 1 comes over to the center. 8 has to be in this box somewhere, so it could be here. That forces the 7 up top, 7 in these cells, 8 in these middle cells, 6 in some of these cells. I'm just sort of getting some of the notes that I'm otherwise missing in the grid to help me when I'm scanning later. This 8 here and this 8 here actually gives me that single. That's actually much more obvious just looking at the digits around. That 1 sort of puts a 1 up top. That means this is 1 and 3, but 1's up above. So this is 3, this is 1. That means this is 1. It gives me this is 1, 5, puts in a 4. This is 4 and 9, forced this way, puts a 2 up top. So this is now 2 in one of those cells. Do I got more with that? I've got this 2 and this 2 with this 2 giving me a 2 here, a 2 here, a 2 here, giving a 2 and a 4, puts in a 9, puts in that 4. This is now 1 and 4 in these cells. I see a 4 up above, so this is 4 and 1, put in my last 4, gives a 6, gives a 6. I still get one more 4 in the grid, so those two 4s eliminated except for this row, and 4 over here puts 4, gives me 5, gives me 5, gives me 1. That means I need a 1 in the space, but 1's already in the 6 columns. So this is 1, 7. This is 7. Last spot for a 9 up top. 9 forced here. 9 and 3, and 3, and 3, and 5, and 5, and 8, and 8, and 9. And so worked our way through this puzzle. Really elegant setting, the cross theme, particularly with how these digits 5s at the start, and then also these 3s and 7s at the start triggered some pointing pairs and eliminations into these corner cells. Was a really cute use of a theme and logic that's not always on the standard mill, but because it was happening so many places around the grid, hopefully you definitely detected the human element in this construction. So really nice Sudoku when you can see that there's a lot that went into planning for its steps. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and we'll see you again soon.